Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. So guys, this is officially the first episode of the offseason. Now that the finals is over, it's done. So now we can begin the good stuff. Lots to talk about today on the show. And we're just going to jump right into talking about the Paul George sweepstakes. And every day there's a new report about it. And so I got a lot to throw at you guys in this first topic here. But so it was reported last night by The Athletic that the Philadelphia 76ers interest in pursuing Paul George has significantly waned in recent days, and the franchise is expected to be aggressive elsewhere with its salary cap flexibility and draft capital leading into next week's NBA draft. Then today, Shams said the Sixers' lack of interest in pursuing Paul George in recent days comes from the team's desire to be aggressive in the marketplace heading into the draft instead of waiting for George to hit free agency. Quote, the signal they're giving teams around the league is they're open for business. They feel like over the next week or so, they can be aggressive. And if there's another option that presents itself, they can move on and not have to wait until Paul George hits free agency. And then just a little bit ago, before we came on here, Nate Duncan reported that, quote, I wouldn't discount the Sixers' interest in Paul George until his status is finalized with LA or elsewhere. George has been a top on Philadelphia's wish list for some time. Should the Sixers get the chance to talk with George on June 30th? So obviously lots to unpack here. So I'm just going to ask you guys, what do you guys make of this Paul George situation? Because it's just continuously evolving.
I think it's just it's a bunch of fluff. And to be honest with you, I mean, I think they have interest in Paul? Yes. How much? That's the thing that's uncertain. But if right now the only thing you can do is talk to your free agents and do trades, and you got the draft coming, then why talk free agency when you need to be talking trade? So I think the conversation is kind of being shifted to making moves and saying we're available right now via trade, and everybody knows the cap situation. So I think that you want to kind of steer things that way to kind of let teams know, the direction that you're looking right now and not looking ahead to free agency. Also, I think they may be in some conversations with teams that there's maybe some smoke screens thrown out there. Maybe they want them to be more aggressive, or maybe or less aggressive, or however it could be. But I do think that it's some dialogue going both ways as far as draft trade, and free agency. I'm looking forward to free agency. I think that you're trying to put yourself in the situation to get what you want. If you can get it via trade before free agency ever happens, then I think that's something they'll pursue. I just think that they can't just say, okay, we're all in on Paul George, and then all of a sudden he's the Clippers has his right, so they can pay him the most. So you get the free agency, and all of a sudden you don't even really get a chance to even address that. Now you're stuck. So I think that you have to kind of. It could be the Sixers putting some of these, deflectors down, but it should be. Technically, you can't talk to him, Paul George, anyway. You don't know the direction he's going. Anytime you see Paul George, as far as the Clippers not giving him his deal, I mean, who is that coming from? I mean, obviously, it's coming from probably Paul George's people. Putting stuff out there that, hey, my client may be available. So it's just a lot of, putting yourself in the best position to be successful. So I wouldn't discard anything, but I also wouldn't put all of my eggs in one basket thinking that only one thing is correct.
So many scenarios to talk about. So you got one possibility. We don't want to sit around and wait for Paul George in case he decides to stay put and takes a little less money from the Clippers. 2, that he's not that interested in coming to Philly, and we got wind of that. 3, that we thought he would take a little less if we gave him an extra year, and maybe he's not interested in that. I don't know. We can't talk to him, but there are other ways of getting messages across, right? Another one is that we thought we could just sign him outright, and we're not interested in the opt-in and trade because that defeated the whole purpose of getting him in the first place, which is we could just sign him and not have to give up assets. So there's a lot there. He can still being used as leverage. Or, like you said, it could just be one giant smokescreen because I felt like it was too much of a foregone conclusion that we were going to just give George everything he wanted in free agency. And I don't know how that would benefit us because if you're the Sixers, you don't want the Clippers thinking we're going to offer him everything because then they have 7 days to up their offer to him. They're on the clock to go, okay, we know Philly's going to offer him 4 for $212. So there you go. We have to offer him that, at least that, to get him to stay. Or a little less, maybe $2 million less to get him to stay. He'll probably stay for $2 less million. But if they're like, if the new report is, you know what, we could do without Paul George, then Clippers could be like, okay, well then Paul George has no leverage. We can offer him a lot less. Where's he going to go? Is he going to go to Orlando for less money? No. So there you go. We can offer him less now. In my opinion, we want the Clippers thinking that we're not interested. That way they can keep their offer low. And then it goes all the way to the deadline. And George is like, you know what? I can come back for the same offer. I'll just opt out and see what I got in free agency. And then we're like, oh, you're available now? Well, here's that offer we were not going to give you a week ago. Here it is. I think my overall question, I know every guy's different. People accept less or more. If they're staying firm on a 3 for $152 deal, like they gave Kawhi, that's $50 a year, a little over 50. In your opinion, Eric, giving someone an extra year, how much less do you think we can offer annually for that? Like, how much is that extra year worth? Consider his age, consider injuries, consider all of it.
I mean, if I had to guess, and you at 50 per, I would think maybe 60% of the contract.
Really?
60% of the year, 60% of the yearly contract for 4 years. So that would be what, $30 million a year for 4 years? I mean, no, not that. 60% maybe in that last year, if you can do it like that. That's what I think that he's probably the value for him. Not necessarily he should take it. I'm saying that's probably the value.
Okay.
For being his age.
So like 4 for 180, like 45 a year.
Yes. 4 for 180 or 40 a year.
Okay.
Because you basically taken off 20 million in that last year. So if you're taking off 20 million in that last year, you take, 10 off or whatever, 5 off each year, and that's what you're getting around, that 150, 160. But if you can get 3 and 150, you're gonna take it. But I'm just saying, if you're saying I'm taking 4 years, I want 4 years, I can't see that 4 going higher than 180. And that's where I meant, like, the additional 60% of that year would be like 30 million. So the additional like 30 million would be the for that 4th year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially, the difference between a 3 and 4 year deal would be 30 extra million.
Yeah. So 4 for 180, I think would be like the Okay, which I don't think Sixer fans would a lot of Sixer fans have been saying, "Oh God, we're going to break the bank 4 for 112." Like that's been some of the worries of them. So 4 for 180. I mean, we'd still have a lot of money to spend out and get some of the guys, but we don't know that until it comes to free agency. So that's the problem. And maybe that's where some of those stories of we don't want to be caught with our pants down and putting our eggs in Paul George's basket. And when it comes down to it, he's like, I'm going to take the 3 for 150, and then we're screwed and we missed out on all the trades. So, it's going to be an interesting week. I'll say that.
I find it. Either they just have to be offering him much less than Kawhi. I don't believe that they offer him 3 for 150 and he say no. I can't believe that.
No, you don't think so?
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I can't believe that he would turn that down fighting for just one extra year. I can't believe that.
That's interesting. I mean, I know they're trying
3 for 150. He's not getting 3 for 150 from any team. It's not one team who's going to give him 3 years and 150. Sixers won't do it. I'll be surprised if they do. Now they could. I could be wrong.
See, I think the only way he comes to us if we did offer the 4th year.
No, I'm just saying, like, I said 3 years for 150. So I'm just saying he could come here for 3 for 150 if the Clippers don't offer it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I don't see that the Clippers offering that and him go somewhere else and say I'm not taking that deal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just for a 4th year. Like, I mean, you technically could get an extension for that 4th year.
Yeah.
At the end of your deal. So, I don't know.
And the opt-in to me sounds sketchy too, especially with someone with some of the injury past that he has.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to opt in risk a year?
A player's opt-in, you should look at it as a 4-year deal. And a team's option, you should look at it as a 3-year deal. That's what they are.
So if we get the news that Paul George opts in, it's either he wants a 3-year extension or it's either he's opting in trade.
I would say he's opting in. The first instance, I would say he's opting in to trade.
Yeah.
Because you would just take a deal. I think he's opting in to trade, but I don't think he opts in to trade unless he already knows where he's going.
Yeah, because you can't extend him for a while after he opts in. You have to
Yes.
wait. And I don't think he wants to do that. I think he'd rather get his contract now, get it solidified now. So, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. Man. Again, fun week.
There's
But
another.
I don't think he opts in. I think he becomes a free agent. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
One of the things that Sixers fans.
I mean, is because it might be his last time being a free agent like this.
Yeah, that's what
Like
Sean
that.
said. They say he's never experienced it before. He's always been traded before he got a free agent.
Yeah, like this.
Mid-30s, he's never experienced it.
Yeah, always sign extensions.
On his podcast, he talked about Orlando, and that's another potential landing spot for him as well. He was hyping up Orlando on his last podcast.
There's
That's
good
a
reason to do that.
I mean, they got some good. They got some good young pieces. If you want to go that route and kind of, do the Miller and kind of play with some younger guys, and that's a good option.
And going to Florida too.
If that's what you want. If that's what you want, that's a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said he's prioritizing style of play over championships, pretty much.
You said
What
that?
do you think about that, Eric? I was going to ask you that.
Not exactly. He said, I think the exact quote was, people keep saying I'm chasing a championship. This isn't about, I'm not going into free agency chasing a championship. I'm looking at style of play as my priority.
A lot of people just think that means money is what is the motive there.
I mean, it is style of play, but it's style of play for the teams that have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he do.
I mean, they go hand in hand. I mean, he's not going to take he's not going to go play with Boston and take the minimum. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he probably considers, chasing a ring. Going to Denver and taking less than he can get with the Clippers and other places. So I think it's the significant drop in pay is when guys say you chasing something. But I don't think it's chasing the championship if you go to Philly, Orlando, New York. I don't think those are chasing championships. I think it's going to a team where you take that is already good and you take a significant pay cut when you have the value to not have to take that pay cut is when you kind of like looked at as someone kind of chasing the ring, but which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with people chasing that at all. I don't. That's your personal preference if you want to, get that money back. But so I would maximize what you can maximize when you can maximize it.
Yeah, there's definitely a frustration from Clipper fans in general. I've gone to many of the Twitter threads and just I haven't been following Paul George's comments over the years that closely, but they have, and they just say he just kind of talks out of both sides of the past few years. He wanted to be the guy, and then he said he was doing too much, and then he wanted to handle the ball more, and then he said he wanted to have a guy control the offense. He just said a lot of things like over the years. He says he wants this, and he said he wants the opposite over many times. And, he said he missed Nico, and he said he missed Rocco a lot. And I don't know. And they say he's chasing a different style of play. So I don't know if that means that he doesn't. Do you think that means he doesn't agree with the style of play where he's currently at? If you say I'm chasing style of play, do you think that automatically means it's not right style of play here currently in LA?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
No, I would say if he's going to leave, he wants to play in a particular style of play. Okay. I don't like this style of play. I'm going to go find something I like. I'm not just going to leave and just go anywhere. It has the style of play has to work. Yeah. And style of play to me isn't necessarily just all style of play. Some of it is who I'm playing with and who's coaching. Yeah. So that when I hear style of play, that's what that's what I hear. Who am I playing with? Who's coaching? What do they try to do? More so the style of play, because everybody ends up the same way. Your best player gets the basketball, either via ISO, turnout, pick and roll, whatever you want to say. You end up in the same situation.
So, yeah, this Paul George sweepstakes stuff is going to be an interesting one to watch. Just in one day, just 3 different stories about it. So that'll be interesting. Moving on to the trade market. So as Shams reported, the Sixers are going to be very aggressive in the trade market, and that's why they're holding off on this Paul George stuff. So yesterday, every Sixers fan's favorite target, even Teja's favorite trade target, Alex Caruso, is now off the market. He is gone to OKC for Josh Giddey. So now that begs the question to the other trade targets that are being thrown out there right now, as far as trade targets that won't break the bank, guys who are all under $16 million. So I'm going to throw some names at you guys, and I want to hear who are your favorite targets of the guys who are being thrown around right now. That's Dorian Finney-Smith, Corey Kispert, Colin Sexton, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Denny Avia, Larry Nance, and Jabari Smith are some of the names of those guys. Who kind of stands out to you guys that you think will fill it? Mm-hmm.
Jabari Smith is being thrown out there like that?
Yep.
Kind of. Potentially. They're not dangling him or anything, but I mean, I think, for the right move.
Everybody can go for the right move.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like it's an early give up of Jabari Smith, but yeah, that's a name that's been thrown around.
I don't understand that, but okay. I don't know. It's a good list. I mean, it's a
Sexton makes a little more than that, by the way. Sexton makes like 17.
Okay.
It's a different list because
makes 14.
It's a different list because it's not all the kind of similar players, kind of a range. Dorian Finney-Smith fits, but he's very, very, very similar to Kelly and whatchamacallit. I can't think of his name. Yeah, I mean, they're basically, he's very similar to those guys. So that to me wouldn't. Kispert is more of a can shoot it, right? Is he the one from the Wizards?
Yep.
That fits. I mean, shooting is always a premium. That fits, especially if he can play some too, maybe. I'm not sure about that.
He's played mostly three. He's like, 6,
yeah,
7.
That's why I said some too.
But yeah, he shot 38 and then 42% the last 2 years from three.
Yeah, Alexander Walker, if he's making the shot, can be very helpful. But I think he's more of a clone of Melton, so that kind of eliminates. If you get Melton, you don't need that.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Who else we got? Colin Sexton is. Yeah, I like Colin. I've known Colin since he was 10 years old. Yeah, but Colin he could be the third guard with any combination of guards that we have.
Mm-hmm. Nance is another potential big and like small ball 5 type guy. Play some 4.
Yeah, Nance can fit.
Avia from the Wizards, who showed a lot of promise over the second half last year.
They love him here. They love him here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a good contract too for the next 4 years.
I think all the guys fit in some way.
How about he's not a trade target? How about Chris Dunn as a potential free agent target? That's a little more Caruso-ish, right?
Yeah, but I don't really know where all the fascination with Caruso comes from. Is it because of his salary? Like, it's a lot of guys out there that can do what he does. Like, I'm not understanding it.
I think because he's 6'5", he can guard 1 to 3, small.
Well, so is Josh Green from the Mavericks.
He can also play point, and he's second team all defense.
I understand that, but I'm just saying. But what makes I'm asking, is it because of his salary that makes him more attractive?
And salary, he makes like 8.
Okay, then that makes sense, Dan. But I'm just saying because he gets traded in, they like.
I know people went nuts, right?
I understand it. It's like, but Giddey had way better numbers on the number 1 team in the West.
Yeah. They told Giddey he was going to be a backup next year.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, and then people make it seem like the trade is just. No, I think it's a good trade for OKC. But I'm just saying, like, people just have him so high, and I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. I think it's. Yeah. I like what Caruso does, but
combination of factors.
It's more Caruso's out there than it is some other guys. But what he does, but he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But if you add, like you saying, if you add salary to his contract, is he still that attractive for you? I know he's not for you, Teja.
No,
I'm just talking about more people in general. I know you're always in people's pocket.
When his salary goes up next year, I won't care anymore because we can go over the cap. But now it's important because we're trying to get as many guys as possible.
Yeah, that's my point. So is it really him, or is it? That's what I'm saying. You answer my question. It's more him with that salary.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. You answered my question. Man.
So would you see Chris Dunn as a?
No, I don't see them as the same. I don't kind of see them as. I don't see them as the same.
No.
I mean, they could be, but I just don't see them in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, Dunn only shooting a lot of threes, 1.7. I mean, he shot 37 and 47 the last 2 years, which is pretty good. It's better than he's gotten better as a shooter. Point. He's not as big. He's 6'3", and Caruso 6'5".
That's what I'm saying. Like Is Caruso 6'5"?
Yeah, I mean that's what he's listed at. Yeah,
They list him at 6'5" in the NBA.
I Bleav so. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen him in person in so long. I mean, I actually coached against him when he was in college. I thought he was good then. So good.
I think Casey, and we didn't name him because he's not going to be higher priced, but if we're just signing someone, I'd say KCP would be the ultimate, like, 2 next to Maxey.
Yeah, I mean, KCP is probably the top 3 and D in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid good this offseason, too.
He's going to get paid good. Some of the comps I saw for contract was like Josh Hart, so like 4 for $80. Because right now he's got a $15 million opt-in. So if he's going to not do that with the, champions from 2 years ago, last year, I would assume it's got to be an extra year and some bump in the pay. So,
I mean, KCP was a lottery pick. People forget that.
Yeah. So, I think that would be, but we're not going to get KCP. We're going with George. And we're not going to get KCP with Butler. So, like, if we're going down that road, and I've seen a lot of KCP reports for us, interest, but if we do that, that means we're not going high end for the big fish. Unless George agreed to that 4th year with less money. That's the only way you can do it. But otherwise, forget about it. Not if he's getting 20, 21 a year. So I don't see how that's going to happen. I mean, more bargain, not exactly like him, would be like a done if you want to sign him. I wanted Marcus to throw in Jabari Smith because I've seen him as – I think he's someone that you'd love to pluck because he's still growing. He is – I think the ideal kind of guy you can get at a lower salary right now. And then when his contract comes up, pay him whatever the hell you need to pay him. But just get as many guys who are currently blossoming at lower salaries and just grow with us and blow up afterwards. That's one thing Boston did really well, right? They had their homegrown talent and they use assets to get guys before their next salary got huge. Derek White, they're going to go way over the cap to sign him now. Porzingis, they got him and then re-signed him. Drew Holiday, they gave him the extension after they got him. So they got guys and then they're like, all right, let's blow up the salary now. So we need to try to find guys like that. That's why I like Avia too, because making 14 a year, which is pretty good for what Kispert makes 5 this last year. That's a bargain. Like that's good for what you're getting from him. So yeah, that's who I'd be fine with throwing multiple, like 2 to 3 first-round picks for Jabari Smith, if need be, because what you're getting at that price it's amazing. But KCP, I think, would be the ideal 2 next to him, Maxey, that is.
Yeah, I've seen some Sixers fans throwing it out there, hypothesizing, doing some kind of trade that would land us Kuzma and one of Kispert or Avia. And I don't know what we'd have to trade to get those guys, but that's
a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. And the Wizards just did a release video of their City Edition jerseys for next year, and Kuzma was in the video. So I don't know. I don't think he's off the market. Nah, I don't think so.
It was just Kuzma. It was just Kuzma in the video.
It was a bunch. It was a bunch.
Okay. I thought it was. Okay. I was like, oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So going from those guys, those trade guys, now we're gonna go to another rumor that was leaked yesterday, but then an hour later it said that somebody else reported that the Sixers are not interested in this guy. But it's a name we've talked about on the show quite often. That's Zach LaVine. So there was a rumor yesterday that the Sixers were in trade talks to get Zach LaVine shortly after the Alex Caruso trade went down. And then like minutes later, it was squashed by other Sixers sources saying that the Sixers aren't interested in Zach LaVine. So obviously, what do you guys think about that? And we talked about him before on the show. What do you think about him being on this team if we were to make a trade for him? And also, too, just like at this point, I mean, it's getting really hard to trust sources and stuff at this point because 2 days ago we said we were interested in Miles Bridges. Then like an hour later after that report, it was reported that we weren't interested in Miles Bridges anymore. So I don't even know what to trust anymore, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you're gonna hear it from both ends. It's yes, we are. Yes, we aren't. Because you never want to be stuck in a situation where this is where you're going. So you want to kind of control the narrative, take away anyone's leverage, even if it's via player or via team. So I think that that's more of the changing of the conversations and reports that are going out there. So I think that's it. I think Zach LaVine fits. We've always said he fits. He can score. If Zach LaVine's your third guard when he was supposed to be your number one in Chicago, and then he becomes the number 3 player here, I mean, I think you can say you're a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So I like the fit. Not sure if we can get someone else with him. I mean, maybe Teja would have that answer. If so, then that would definitely work for me.
Yeah, he makes 43, 46, and then 48 player option, which I assume he'll opt into in 2026, 27. Which, you know what? I mean, sounded bad when he first signed it, but for what these salary caps are going to start keep going up to every year, I don't really think it's as bad as people try to make it out to be. Not for a guy that's giving you 23, 25 a game. I mean, health is the only thing that, I'd be worried about, and that is a concern. But
not Paul George?
I was just going to say, but that's the concern for most guys. Paul George? Name all the available guys. Paul George, Ingram, OG Anunoby, Butler. Yeah. They've all missed considerable amount of time the last couple of years. All of them. All guys. Even Caruso's had injury problems.
Yeah.
Nicked up here and there. So it's like, I was talking to a buddy of mine who was dogging the Sixers having health issues. I was like, every team in the playoffs, I think every team, one of their top 3 players missed multiple games in the playoffs this year. So this isn't a Sixer problem. Everyone had injury problems. Yeah. The team that won the championship had injury problems. Okay, Porzingis missed 90% of the off or postseason. So Halliburton missed games. Brunson was dealing with injury problems. They were without Randall. I mean, I can go on and on and on. So it's injuries are everywhere. There's no.
They just happen to beat us. They just happen to beat us. So
yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
No, I know. That's you got to be convenient about it. But I mean, if you want someone who's never getting injured, get DeRozan. It's not the best fit, but if that's what you're worried about injuries, then go DeRozan then and call it a day because that guy's like an Iron Man. So I'm worried about it, but at the same time, like. You can't not pull a trigger on the guys because, I mean, any guy we might end up with at this point has that concern as far as the names that everyone's talking about. At least he's got the age on his side. He's 29, right? So I trust an injury-prone player at 29 than I trust one over at 35. But, I don't believe anything anymore. It's hard because they're the one saying – the one thing I do think is interesting, though, both the Bulls and the Pelicans report about Ingram and LaVine, they both said Bulls and the Pelicans were calling people about the players. When usually you hear about a player being traded from a team, it's usually the other team calling them, right? But it's those teams calling around the league to get, like, their players off the team. So I do think that's interesting. How much does leverage play into that? I don't know, but I just found that interesting. I also think it's interesting that Utah was the other team with LaVine, and most, naturally, most people heard that and they were like, forget about LaVine. Let's get in for marketing. So, not that simple. That'd be great, but.
Well, there's a report yesterday that the Bulls were unwilling to do a package deal with LaVine and Caruso. They didn't want to do both of them together.
They like Giddey a lot.
Yeah.
I know Twitter thinks it's unbelievable that that's the case, but every people have their own general management, they have their own scouting, they have their own team, they have their own personnel that they.
I mean, OKC like Giddey too until the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
it's not that crazy.
You make a change and adjustment with your team. Is he not the same player anymore? I mean, you just loved him for the whole time he was there. Then you have, and then you make the decision to make him a spot up shooter, and people say, "Well, we're not going to guard him." and then you say he can't play anymore. But
I know.
You didn't help him. You didn't put him in position to be successful.
Yep.
So, okay. I mean, he the same dude that y'all were hyping.
Yeah.
And for what they want him to be, right? The rumors are going to buy out Ball, and they want him to replace him as the point guard playmaker. That makes sense if that's what you want.
Well, that's the way he needs to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were laughing because apparently the reports were they got multiple first-round pick offers for Caruso at the trade deadline, and they said no to that. And then they end up trading him straight up for Giddey. That was kind of the a lot of people were laughing at the Bulls' management.
I'm just saying, is it someone in the draft that's 21 years old that can do what Giddey did for Oklahoma City?
No, I don't believe so.
So what are we talking about? They had draft pick.
Just draft capital.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking. Is someone that's 20? He's what, 21 years old, right?
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
He's young.
That's 6'7" or 6'8" or whatever he is that can put the numbers he put up on the number one team in the West.
Yeah.
Numbers were better than Caruso's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it's as bad as people kind of making it seem.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
They're both due extensions soon, so you're going to pay one or the other there, right?
Yeah, but you paying one that's going to fit your team versus the Bulls. There's no way the Bulls could extend Caruso with LaVine and DeMar and Ball and Kobe White. There's no way you could pay him that like that with those guys.
Yeah.
And apparently Vucevic is also on the block too. That's another guy they're apparently shopping as well.
Yeah, I mean, they probably shopping their whole team.
Yeah.
They should be.
Yeah.
They should take all the second-round picks for Drummond. But, you know.
Yeah. No, they don't want to do that. They want to contend.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to our last topic here. So this will be our last show before the first round of the draft. So we'll have a show next Friday right before the second round. I love that they split up in 2 days this year. It's a nice little off-season treat for us.
Yeah.
So next Thursday, the draft, we have the 16th pick. So two-part question here. So if the Sixers do in fact keep this pick, and that's been a lot of conversation about if the Sixers should keep it, should we not keep it? We talked about it a few weeks back. But if the Sixers do keep this pick at number 16, who would you want to see the Sixers drafting at number 16? And if we were to trade that pick and maybe other picks, then for which player stands out to you that would be a guy that you think would go for a 16th overall pick in this draft?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to guess because I have no idea what Daryl Morey is thinking. Which direction the team is going to go in. I don't know. I think the draft and everything matters with, are you going older like Paul George and which telling me you winning right now? Or are you going younger and getting a younger guy and you're saying we want to win right now, but we still want to be competitive some years from now? So I think it kind of depends on that. It really depends. I mean, I don't see us as a development team. I don't see that. So they either getting the guy that they feel that can contribute right now, or they trade the pick.
Do you think these reports that came out today have anything to do with the most recent Butler report, which is rival GMs and sources say that Butler will be traded this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think him being traded, I don't know if it's related to Sixers. But I think that it could be related to. Now, I don't think it's related to the Sixers directly, but it could be related to the Sixers indirectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that people are keeping options open with these draft picks. I think that it's going to come down to the last minute in a lot of these cases, or a team may pick a guy for someone else. You know, when I was drafted for Seattle, even though it was Milwaukee's pick. So you could have a lot of that going on also. Prearranged kind of deals at the draft. So we'll see.
Yeah. As far as draft, this draft's pretty crazy. They have people going all over the place. They said there were a lot of promises to guys in the first round that didn't have first round grades. So that means some guys are going to have to drop out of the first round. So I have no idea anymore. It's been all over the place. I saw a recent interesting one. They said Devin Carter to the Bulls, which makes sense. They replace Caruso with a very kind of similar Caruso-ish guy, right? They just got Giddey for him, and they just get another younger version of him. They said Ron Holland might drop out of the top 10. Dillingham might drop out of the top 10. Collier might drop out of the top 10. If any one of those guys fall, I mean, if we didn't trade it, wouldn't be upset at all. We got one of those guys. As far as more like play now players who are ready to play, De Silva is a very popular one, who's a little older as a prospect, a little more NBA ready, lower ceiling, higher floor. That's the kind of guy I could see us taking if we just can't trade it for anyone that we like. As far as trading for guys, I didn't think we were going to go for a big trade before or at the draft. I thought it was going to be smaller moves like the Kispert types, Dorian Finney-Smith types. We can trade. Apparently, we could trade Paul Reed and bring back up to like $15.2 million in salary, even though he only makes like 7-something. That guy in that range is like an option, but from what Sham said, it sounds like we're swinging for the fences this week. And who knows? Again, I don't know what to believe, right? I don't know if I believe any of that, but it sounds like that's what we're going for. So I have no clue anymore. I would say more of a bargain type players to keep the options open. But the problem with that is it's really hard to re-sign your own players to deals and then go for lower salary players when you don't know how much that big fish is going to cost. So, like, how can you really go for the $10, $15 million players if you might need 40-something million to sign a guy that needs that money this year? So, yeah, it's really hard before that big domino falls to figure out the other dominoes. Maybe that's why they're trying to, accelerate that process and trying to figure out the big domino first. I just didn't think that would happen so quickly. I thought we'd wait a little bit on that, but apparently we don't want to.
Yeah, some of the names that Sixers Twitter is really big on is this Tristan Da Silva and Jared McCain from Duke are the two main guys that Sixers Twitter is really all about. Eric, what do you know about those guys?
Toby Walter's the other one too. I see him a lot from Baylor.
Who was the first name you said?
Tristan Da Silva, the Colorado 3, or the 3-4 from Colorado, and then Jared McCain, the guard from Duke.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going to draft, so those are two young guys that are good promise. Silva is versatile forward. McCain's a guard, very similar to how Kobe White kind of came out of North Carolina. Very similar in some ways. Can shoot it. Yeah, those guys fit. I mean, I don't think either guy's going to crack the rotation, but they're guys that if they needed to play, they're skilled enough and capable enough to contribute.
If someone fell and it's a skill set that we particularly kind of maybe already have, like a Maxey, maybe like just a scorer who can get to the hoop, do you think we should shy away from that and go toward fit, or just take the best player if he falls, no matter what his position is?
I think if you're drafting and you're a Sixer, you drafted the best player available, unless the fit is just undeniable 3-point shooting. Because that's always something you can utilize around Maxey and Joel, and if you get someone else, that shooting transfers.
It's going to be interesting. I can't wait. That this whole upcoming week, as far as the trades and then draft night, like you said, Eric, up to the last possible minute, we might be seeing trades. It's exciting. It's exciting times.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We hope you guys enjoyed our the first start of free agency episode. And last week was our pre-offseason episode. But this is it now. So we're here. But we'll see you guys next week as we talk about our round 1 trade or pick, and then a preview round 2 next Friday. You guys have a good weekend. See you next time.
All right, take it easy. Yeah.
See you, fellas.